Let's bring in President Trump's attorney, Joe Tacopina. Joe, great to see you under these circumstances.
Thanks, Tegan.
Joe, have you seen the indictment yet? Do you have a clearer picture of what's in it and exactly how many counts there are, what the exact charges are at this point?
No, Dagan. I mean, we have honestly no idea. I mean, I have an idea, obviously, what the basis of the indictment is. However factually and legally incorrect it is, we don't know what the indictment is. I can only, tell you what I'm reading in the New York Times, which seems to know things a lot earlier than we do. But they haven't unsealed it, and we don't have it. We'll probably get it when we're in court early next week, most likely Tuesday, but who knows?
So, Joe, what is the logistics of Tuesday? You know, where does Donald Trump go in? Is he fingerprinted? Does he get to give a DNA swab? Does he have a mugshot? What's the process going to be on Tuesday?
Great question, Sean. I mean, I honestly have no idea. I'm going to be sort of a bystander in some regards because this is a case of first impression. We're at a very obviously new stage in this country's justice system and the process, and the fact that we're now going to have a former president being arraigned in a criminal court is a horrific day for this country. The rule of law has died, as far as I'm concerned, yesterday. But as far as process is concerned, Sean, I mean, that's a Secret Service issue, NYPD issue, and New York State court officers issue. And they'll figure out how to do this and the best way. I mean, those are three great organizations. I'm sure they'll make sure it's done properly. But how it's going to happen or where we go and what we do, I mean, that's all up in the air still.
But will you be by his side, Joe? And you know that courthouse very well, 100 Center Street. Is there?
Yeah.
Are there underground entrances? Are there side entrances that the president could go in? We're not asking for specific details because of the security issues. But will President Trump decide he's going to walk right in the front door of 100 Center?
Again, I'm going to be with him. Wherever he decides to go, I'll go. And, of course, with the Secret Service detail and the other lawyers. But I don't know where we're going. I don't know if we're coming in front door, back door, through the roof. I mean, I really have no idea. I'm just going to be sort of following the guys with the microphones in their ears and the black suits on. I'm not really part of that decision-making process. And so it's about security, not only for, obviously, the president, for everyone who's going to be involved in that situation. And, NYPD, Court Officers Union, and Secret Service, I think, have a plan locked down, but I'm just not sure exactly what it is yet.
So, Joe, this is obviously a political prosecution as a felony for a clerical error. It's unbelievable. But have you started to think through what legal proceedings you start to take to see this not go to trial, to get it thrown out via motions to dismiss?
It's all I think about. Honestly, it's all I think about. I'm so shocked that we're actually here. There is no federal campaign law violation.
Right.
And FEC chairmen have come out and said that. It's clear, and I don't have to dissect unless you guys want me to, the FEC laws, the federal campaign laws, but there's not even close to a violation. Personal funds used in a legal civil settlement that happens all the time, that was not even engineered by President Trump, but his former lawyer before he even knew about it. But that being said, we're going to make every legal challenge possible, starting with selective prosecution in this case, targeted prosecution. I mean, there's no other human being in the world who would have been prosecuted for this exact fact pattern other than Donald Trump, and it's done because we have a politically based, prosecutor who is weaponizing the prosecutor's office to go after a political opponent. And that's the stuff that sends chills down my spine. I mean, whether you're politically opposed to Donald Trump or supportive of him as a politician, we as Americans should all be horrified to what we're seeing right now. Really should be horrified, because it's easy to say, oh, today's Donald Trump and, we don't like Trump and boo Donald Trump and arrest him. Tomorrow it could be a Democrat. And the day after that, it could be your uncle or your cousin or your son or your daughter. When we start deciding we're going to pick the person we want to prosecute and then we'll find the crime, which is what they did here. As a matter of fact, Mark Palmer had said that in his book. we're in a bad place. We're in a bad place that harkens back to the days of dangerous regimes of Nazi Germany, Communist China, Soviet Union, where political enemies just disappeared or were persecuted. And that's not what we want in this country.
And Mark Pomerantz's, he worked in D.A. Bragg's office and then quit and wrote the book, correct, Joe?
Yeah.
It's been about 24 hours since the news of this indictment broke. What's the president's state of mind? What's his mood like? How much have you been in communication with him the last 24 hours?
Enough to know that he is a fighter, that, he's angry. He's being persecuted for political reasons, not for legal or factual reasons. Again, there's not even a bad act here, let alone a crime on his part, and he's being prosecuted. And it's something that I still can't, up until 5:30 last night, didn't believe it was going to happen, because I just didn't see how they're going to bring this. But he's a fighter. He's the toughest guy I know, and he's someone who's going to make sure that, we unturn every stone, file every legal motion possible to make sure justice is achieved here, and then pursue people who are responsible for a horrific abuse of the system. Look, the House Judiciary Committee, which we now have, by the way, in this country for the first time, and literally a committee that will oversee weaponization of the Justice Department, which is something we never thought we would have needed in this country, but apparently we do now. So, they're involved in this. They want to know, they want answers. And whether they get them or not remains to be seen. But there's a lot of people up in arms about this, people on the right, people on the left, people in the middle, as they should be.
Joe, real quick, we got to go in a second, but Donald Trump on Truth Social made a comment about the judge that's been assigned the case. They said, the judge hates me. What can you tell us about the judge that's been assigned to this case?
Sean just read my mind. Have you ever appeared before him, Joe?
No, not appear before this judge. If it's the same judge that did the Trump Organization trial, no. But, I really can't say anything about him because I don't know him. But I'm hopeful that every judge really lives for the rule of law. And whether they have a particular like or dislike for anyone, the rule of law is what governs. That's why they have those robes, and that's why they take that oath. And I'm hopeful that a judge looking at this case, these charges and these crimes that everyone said you can't bring, the FEC passed on this, the Justice Department passed on this, I hope they're going to take a look and ignore their political leanings or their personal feelings about an individual and really apply the law in this case. And if they do, I don't think we'll be long in the tooth for this prosecution.
Well said. I hope that's the outcome here with this judge as well. Joe, thank you for joining us.